Now, what do you think say na wetin they go do make the price of flour wey una dey make a condom? Because I know say okay before now this cost egg how much na dey sell am before?
Make I want 300 every 200.
Enough money because they put money for flour.
Yes.
So now, you think the government gets anywhere where you see help make things, price of things come down so that because we now where they buy as on put money, he put money for our side. You think the government gets any help with render that's all of us? Hello?
Well, actually, I don't know what to say, but government, they really know how to help us. They really know how to help us. So I don't know what they use to produce the to manufacture the flour. I don't know. But maybe because of the things they are using to produce the flour is costly. That's why the flour is costly. That's why they do things. So I don't know how they are going to do it, but they know how they are going to do the price.
Okay. What will be your name again?
Micah Bridges.
Micah Bridges. Okay. Micah Bridges. What is the name of this company? I don't forget.
No, the company.
Lanchi. Okay, my country people will there for 30 Lanchi Palace for number 12 Brad Street on top of Aba. Any university will see there for the program roadside microphone where we the enter street. Make all of us follow talk. I mean, you don't hear them now. The person where we just come out from the place, they sell maize pie. They use flour. She just hear and say before this flour at 20K, but now 30K. Let me and you follow talk now. So how you see this thing? Meto?
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. MC at TC is still there with the person there. So, you dey hear me? You dey hear me? Wow. All right. I beg if they enter your domot, what you go to do? Be say you just talk your mind, they increase your voice some more. Now free. We know say the way that the Hamatan never come a day like this, and as some more thing, we will do for that roadside microphone, we will enter your domot. When we just see us saying a magic, we just storm for your place, you will just talk your mind. Some people go they say, child, be one. We must reach your domot. Just wait for us. No, just touch the dial. And a magic wa 2.9 FM aba. We could just go back together because of why the video there with us. We reach you back.
Girl, you're behind is a killer. I can see you sensual. The way you wriggle and waver, you must be intentional. Don't want any baby, baby. I can tell your every action is a block. Get down with this bubble. I know you feeling the buzz. See go baby, I'ma see go baby, see go baby, I'ma see go baby, see go baby, I'ma see go baby, see baby, yeah, what about you go baby? Girl, I love the way you look tonight. I wanna put my hands on your waist. more, yeah. She won't go to summer. She say make I give her go, babe. I like to bang me no more, yeah. Guess me right no more, yeah. She won't go to summer. She say make I give her go, babe. I like to bang me no more, oh babe. Don't want any payday, bossy to go, babe. I feel I'm a kilo day, oh baby. I can tell your reaction is a block. Get down with this bubble. Cause I know you feeling the bubble. Okay, I'm okay, okay. Easy, baby, okay. She won't give me the I'm okay, okay. Yeah, okay, okay. She said she won't give me the I'm okay, okay. Easy, baby, okay. Why not okay, okay. Yeah, okay, okay. I'm okay, okay. Easy, baby, okay. She won't give me the I'm okay, okay. Yeah, okay, okay. She said she won't give me the I'm okay, okay. Easy, baby, okay. Why not okay, okay. Man, I don't got no more. You won't go to bed this summer. You know that see no more. You won't go to bed this summer. See the number no more. You won't go to bed this summer. I'm going to no more. You won't go to bed this summer. No Jamila, David Beckham, I'm back then the Martin no more. You won't go to bed this summer. DJ Doctor no more. Oga Titus, you too pompous. You want try boys. Now money don't loss. Boys are very big boys. You don't you want phone boss. Kasala don't boss. Where's Oga Titus? You take night bus. You come Lagos. Now you go campus. Girls are very surplus. With no remorse. You won't come floss. Now money don't loss. Yeah.
You follow Boho, spend your money on top of Boho. Let me say, we don't come back to go. You follow Boho, spend your money on top of Boho. Let me say, we don't come back to read. Yeah. I just see no get money, can they do to gaga? Oh, who they blow you, can they do to gaga?
Chief Oga Titus, accounts they read my nose. You want to host World Cup, now wow for you big bros. And you know practice, they do like Raymond this. What the funny tactics? Titus, see what is this? Yeah. Oga Titus, you don't chop tight. You won't come fight for broad daylight. When you know get light and your house no bright. Oga Titus, why you want fight us? Yeah.
You follow Boho, spend your money on top of Boho. Let me say, we don't come back to go. You follow Boho, spend your money on top of Boho. Let me say, we don't come back to read. Yeah. I just see no get money, can they do to gaga? Oh, who they blow you, can they do to gaga?
What about Madam Titus? That one they spread virus. After she don't bend down, collect money, go bend down boutique just to buy fake things, like fake shoe. They form big babes. She they be fine babes. You want knock man, they find big man. You want jump on that Titus. What a very mistake. What the hell is this? Not very disgrace. Oh more you don't Titus, you don't lock up. Yeah.
You follow Boho, spend your money on top of Boho. Let me say, we don't come back to go. It's about Boho, spend your money on top of Boho. Let me say, we don't come back to read. I just see where they go, if we don't make way to gaga. Oh, who they blow you, can they do to gaga?
Ojari Papa.
Jesus!
Ojari Papa.
Hey! Jesus mo, ana mekele kwegi. Obi ni kwe, ana manjagi mao. Iwene siamanya, inakosi kwemu. Iwene siamanya nenu. Uwa ficha manya mirio Abumonye Ijifum nana I love you. Thank you. I love you. Oh, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Obrigado, gracias. Dankeschön. Medasse, asante sana. Ndatenda, siabonga. I love you. Thank you. Make love in stereo. But the people on stereo. But the people forget you. Make them dance like say no tomorrow. Don't be sporting. Don't be giving other people what they wanting. As I know you know, say this the life show for show. You know be any mini money more. Whether from Kano or from Toronto, shake it, yaro, nothing like it again. This time that you feeling, you know be being so. Cause what the one shall I go change it in so. Hey, I mean no be change the one. Change is always constant. Oh yeah, change your style and change your pattern. See, if you're a man, something want to happen. And it's something I cannot tell you. And it's something is very, very real. Make sure like double before you got the control. No time for story, no time for story. You cannot get it. Make sure that you're ready. Make you know me with something. No time for story. You cannot get it. Make sure you're ready. Make you know me with something. Monica, Sirika, hey, I never see anything, hey. I never know when to want hit them. I never know when to want touch them. One beat them, one follow them. Don't be smarting, don't be giving other people what they wanting. As I know you know, so this the life show for show. You know be any mini money more. Whether from Ghana or from Toronto, shake it, yaro, nothing like it go. This jam that you feeling, you know be being so. Cause what the one shall I go change it. If you something want to happen, and something I can't tell you. But something if there's something you want to do, make sure like double before you got the control. No time for story, you cannot get it. Make sure that you're ready, make you know me see something. No time for story, you cannot get it. Make sure you're ready, make you know me see something. Something you want to do, make sure like double before you got the control. No time for story, you cannot get it. Make sure that you're ready, make you know me for something. No time for story, you cannot get it. Make sure that you're ready.
We know something those other guys don't. You want us to just shut up and rock. All right then. We know something those other guys don't. You want us to just shut up and rock. All right then. Magic 102.9. Magic 102.9.
Everybody calls me the bench, but you can call me anything. Call me anything. You can do me shakara again and again. Do that tempting again and again. Girl, you know there's no more pretense, and I'ma give you the world if that's what you want. So come on, Sava, best messy. If I'm one, if I'm a messy, maybe me child. Come on, Sava, best messy. If I'm one, if I'm a messy, maybe me child. Girl, I love you so, and I
you how we rep.
Hey, what's up? Yo, this is 50 Cent. Yo, it's your boy Chris Brown right here. What up? It's your boy Jay-Z.
Coming to the stage.
My baby is 6 months old. Oh my! 6 months old? Wow! Now your baby needs more than breast milk. It's time to introduce mashed meals. In addition to breast milk, begin to give your baby mashed meals that contain at least one item from each of these 5 food groups: eggs, fish or meat, fruits and vegetables, oils, beans, groundnuts, soya or millet, rice, potato, maize or yam. From 6 months, in addition to breast milk, your baby needs this combination of food types to grow healthy. This message is from the Anrin Project, Federal Ministry of Health.
My friends, my friends are crazy and sweet, wild and caring, weird and loving. They have their scoring, but they are also angels, flawed in their ways, yet awesome in every way possible. Chasing wins one loss at a time. My besties are flawsome. Watch them only on Showmax from 10th November. Sign up at showmax.com.
Hear me now!
I like the music. You got the best music.
So what station is this?
Magic 102.9 ABBA.
Yes, Magic 102.9 from about roadside mic. Yes, we roadside mic. We thank all of Rabisuna Chukunamat along Brass Johnson, Telego Reach down Brass Street, join Okigwe Road /Force Road. People don't talk how things take day for inside the area, how their business take they go back, how take they move front, how they want to make a government come run for them because cry now they cry now say they need help because the way it is take they costly now. It no be so much sote traffic woman come talk in mind talk say before right now even self na so they go do ogbonga turn left to turn right to make sure say the traffic work they very busy for them, but now the day they sleep because of why the road is very very dry. Maybe they talk about say fuel to buy and now self it be big boy person way they see now where they run ACB big boy because of why allow them mawurundenze say make a way government chukumato onto the segemenge matter make we just the smile of one ya wo but don't does on a we get time. Now we do the talk on top this morning. This parole the show back again next week Tuesday Tuesday 10:30 in the morning you go see Magic FM for your domot. When you just see that they knock open for them, concentrate, talk your mind because now roadside microphone from Magic 102.9 FM Aba. Then another Thursday, next week we dey ready for you. We fit enter that place where you see they do your Christmas. We enter that your pot. How much you use to cook this pot of rice? How much you use to cook this too? We go enter that place where that chicken and fowl they dance krokete. We go ask you say how much be this fowl? Magic dey ready for you for inside December month to waka the move front. My name na Right Honorable Pastor Metusela alongside with MC plus Govo, Sarah, all of us join body together to make sure say the roadside microphone enter your domot. So we thank you. Up next, yes, we dey knock you global news on top of your domot. After that, DJ Val, carry every today we see go shut down the city on top the old school matter. See, they don't talk, they don't do this. Their mama, na their papa. Anything where they talk, yara na. Bye bye.
I say you don't come my country, by your son, my state, this is not reality when living happen to by yourself. 1999, I swear I don't go forget them. When them kill the people, and them make the children them orphans. So anytime when I think what are they from my eyes? Somebody say we can leave them, but I say me I must talk. I said they don't kill them, mama. They don't kill them, papa. I said they don't kill them, mama. Them papa, them mama, them papa, them mama. I said they don't kill them, mama. Them papa, them mama. Make me go to you. Now so the match they go, 10,000 soldiers for rodeo. Ask them where them they go. Them say them they go by yourself. Which place for by yourself? One billion them call ODEO. Nine them enter our village.
they them rape our young girls and make us homeless. So try them kill our mama, yo. Them kill our papa, yo. Them kill our brothers and kill our sisters and make us homeless. So what did we go to, yo? Say do, yo. Everybody they cry, yo. I said the government them bad, yo. I said they don't kill them, mama, they don't kill them, papa, I said they don't kill them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, I said they don't kill them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, we go to you, I can't die, poverty don't do that, every day for Nigeria, and I saw the people them need yeah, our government. Why you wanna make us to cry, yo? Every day for Nigeria, and I saw the people them they die, yo. Come on for house for money, yo. Man in a day for your hand, yo. Police go stop you for road. Them go collect the one when you get, yo. Them play allegation for head, yo. For waiting, you know, do, yo. Before you go, love my brother, you done the inside cell, yo. I say, you see, don't kill your mama, don't kill your papa. I said they don't kill you, mama, them, papa, them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, I said they don't kill them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, we go to you. I said they don't kill them, mama, don't kill you, papa, I said they don't kill you, mama, them, papa, them, mama, I said they don't kill them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, we go to you. I said they don't kill you, mama, they don't kill you, papa. I said they don't kill you, mama, them, papa, them, mama, them, papa, them, I said they don't kill them, mama, them, papa, them, mama, we go to you. I said they don't kill you, mama, they don't kill you, papa. I said they don't kill you, mama, them, papa, them, papa, them, I said they don't kill them, mama, them, papa. London to Ekene, say Belendo, say where you wanna go. Let me take you there. Give me love, oh, give me plenty love, oh yeah. I wanna dance, oh, so watch me weep and watch me nah. I like your style, I like everything where you yeah. We always smiling, cause the grace of God is always work better. Ijori, lele yo, ladies and gentlemen, we go dance and shake body, oh, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody dance to my bedroom, ladies and gentlemen. Agbalagba come and shake body, oh, ladies and gentlemen. Ijori, lele yo, ladies and gentlemen, we go dance and shake body, oh, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody dance to my bedroom, ladies and gentlemen. Agbalagba tomode come and shake body, oh, ladies and gentlemen. Careful, like I just said, mama. Gentlemen and mademoiselle, daddy know me no say. Mommy shout my Joe, let's say, oh, Joe, let's say, oh. Give me love, oh, give me plenty love, oh yeah. I wanna
12 o'clock.
Angelus, na fanna.
Narana monso, amen.
Moma ko sebro wa kwiptere gwa Maria.
Owe trimestri kenke monso.
Ekene Maria, Egypt na Gracia, o sebro anonyerenge. Idi ngozi n'etiti kporo niile. Ọ dị azi ngozi, nwafọ gị bụ Jesu.
Maria Janso, neke chukwu, yobara ndị jayo, ita na n'oge ọnwa ya amen.
Ne odibo nwanyị nke o sebro wa.
O rere nke isi kwuo.
Ekene Maria, Egypt na Gracia, o sebro anonyerenge. Idi ngozi n'etiti kporo niile. Ọ dị azi ngozi, nwafọ gị bụ Jesu.
Maria Janso, neke chukwu, yobara ndị jayo, ita na n'oge ọnwa ya amen.
Okwu emela arụ.
Obinyere anyị.
Ekene Maria, Egypt na Gracia, o sebro anonyerenge. Idi ngozi n'etiti kporo niile. Ọ dị azi ngozi, nwafọ gị bụ Jesu.
Maria Janso, neke chukwu, yobara ndị jayo, ita na n'oge ọnwa ya amen.
Yobala ya ayo, onne nke chukwu dị asọ.
Owe ma ito mkpa nke Kristi.
Ayo, anyị na-ayọ gị o Chukwu ka ịrụnye Gracia gị n'ime obi anyị. Anyị bụ bụ ndị njelu butere ozi wee mara iwelarụ Kristi nwa gị site na nkwa ya na obe ya wee bata n'otu nke mbilite n'ọnwụ ya site na Kristi dụ anyị. Amen. Otu dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ.
Etu ọ dị n'izizi na kịta egbo niile n'ụwa ebebe. Amen.
Otu dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ.
Etu ọ dị n'izizi na kịta egbo niile n'ụwa ebebe. Amen.
Ka mkpụrụ obi ndị niile kwerenụ gara aga
si n'ebere nke Chukwu ha zike na ndokwa.
ka mkpụrụ obi ha zuo ike na ndokwa.
Amen.
Onye nwe anyị nọnyere unu.
Nọnyekwara gị.
Ka Chineke Chike niile gọzie unu. Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ.
Amen.
Udo dịrị unu.
Dịkwara gị.
Courtesy of Sacred Hearts Chapel, Owohio, Aba.
Your place for news.
Mr. President, still speaking.
Your place for talk.
Where's their brain at?
Your place for the issues that matter to you.
6:45 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., 5:30 p.m., and 9:45 p.m.
It's news. It's talk. It's all about you.
It's Magic 102.9 ABBA.
Welcome to the Global News on Magic 102.9 FM. I am Ruth Wilhelms. Thanks for joining us. The headlines. President Joe Biden promotes partnerships with Africa at Leadership Summit. Thousands freed in new Ukraine-Russia prison swap. Peru declares nationwide state of emergency as crisis deepens. From the local scene, banks reconfigure ATMs. New Naira enters circulation today. These and more, plus entertainment and sports update. Always remember to send your eyewitness report to newsroom at magicfm.ng. Once again, welcome to the Global News. President Joe Biden has stressed a need for balanced partnerships with African nations as the United States seeks to build stronger relations and increase trade with countries across the continent. During an address at an opening trade forum at the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington on Wednesday, Biden said the talks were about building connections as well as a shared future for the U.S. and Africa. He emphasized that partnership should be on equal footing and not to create political obligation or foster dependence, but to spur shared success. Delegates from the 49 African countries as well as the African Union were invited to the three-day summit in the U.S. Capitol, a follow-up to the first such gathering 8 years ago under President Barack Obama. The talks come amid Biden's efforts to rebuild U.S. relationships abroad after 4 years of the America First foreign policy under his predecessor, Donald Trump. Washington's competition with Beijing, which has invested in Africa in recent years at a level that has far outpaced the U.S., has loomed into the backdrop of this week's discussions. A top United Nations committee has again blocked Myanmar's military, which grabbed power in a February 2021 coup, from taking the country's seat at the United Nations, according to diplomats and Myanmar's rights groups. The body's General Assembly's Credentials Committee deferred action on the military's request to take over the seat. Two diplomats who spoke on condition of anonymity told reporters. The Myanmar Accountability Project MAP said in a statement it had also learned from diplomats that the committee, which began meeting on 29th of November, had rejected the general's bid for representation. A formal announcement is expected on Friday. The decision means that Chia Moon-chan, who was appointed Myanmar's United Nations ambassador by the elected government of civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi, will continue to hold the post. The United Nations Credentials Committee is made up of 9 member states, including China, Russia, and the United States, and was meeting against a backdrop of growing geopolitical tensions over the war in Ukraine, which has raised concerns an increasingly isolated Russia might block any decision backing Chia Moon-chan. Brazil is set to restart diplomatic relations with neighboring Venezuela once President-elect Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva assumes office on 1st of January. On Wednesday, Muravira, whom Lula named last week as his pick for foreign minister, announced that a diplomatic mission will travel to Caracas next month to organize an official Brazilian residence in the city before an ambassador is appointed by Brazil's legislature. Diplomatic relations between Brazil and Venezuela's left-wing government broke down in 2020 during the tenure of Brazil's current far-right president, Jair Bolsonaro. Lula, a left-leaning politician who defeated Bolsonaro in Brazil's October election, has signaled he would seek a thaw in tensions with his country's northern neighbor. During his time in office, Bolsonaro signed a decree banning Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and senior members of his administration from entering Brazil. He also joined more than 50 countries in recognizing Juan Guaido, a member of Venezuela's opposition, as the country's acting president after Maduro's 2018 re-election. Countries including the United States called Maduro's 2018 re-election results fraudulent. Dozens of people, including a United States citizens, have been released in the latest prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine, nearly 10 months into a grinding war that began after Moscow invaded its neighbor. The latest exchange included 64 Ukrainian soldiers and a U.S. national living in Ukraine, Andriy Yermak, and the head of President Volodymyr Zelensky's office said on Wednesday. Fighting is raging in Ukraine's east and south, while the capital Kyiv was subjected to a significant drone attack on Wednesday. Tens of thousands of people have been killed, millions more displaced, and cities reduced to rubble since the Russian invasion began on 24th of February. Zelensky said this week that Russia should start with. It is likely the Kremlin will view the move as an escalation. The comments come as Moscow, with no Christmas ceasefire, was on the cards after nearly 10 months of the war in Ukraine, even as the release of dozens more prisoners, including a United States national, showed some contact between the two sides remained. Russia and Ukraine are not currently engaged in talks to end the fighting, which is raging in Ukraine's east and south, while Moscow has carried out missile and drone strikes on power and water facilities across the country, including the capital city, Kyiv. Ukraine has been asking its Western allies to boost its air defense system in the wake of the Russian attacks, which have forced millions of people to live without power or heat in winter. Ukraine on Wednesday said its forces shot down 13 Russian drones that have been launched towards Kyiv. Peru has declared a nationwide state of emergency amid a week of protests and political upheaval following the removal and arrest of former President Pedro Castillo. Peruvian Defense Minister Alberto Otarola announced a new 30-day measure on Wednesday, which is said involved the suspension of freedom of movement and assembly and could include a curfew due to acts of vandalism and violence, including roadblocks. The move came as a judge ordered Castillo to remain in prison on charges of rebellion and conspiracy for another 48 hours in the run-up to release hearing. Castillo's supporters have taken to the streets across the South American nation to demand the left-wing leader's release, as well as new elections and the removal of his successor, former Vice President Dina Boluarte. The crisis began last week when Castillo, a former rural teacher and union leader who took to office in July of last year, announced plans to disband Peru's Congress and rule by decree. The move was widely denounced as unconstitutional and prompted the opposition-led legislature last Wednesday to vote overwhelmingly in favor of removing him in the third impeachment attempt of his embattled presidency. An Irish soldier has been killed on a United Nations peacekeeping mission after a convoy of 2 armored utility vehicles carrying 8 personnel traveling to Beirut came under small arms fire, Ireland's defense forces have said in a statement. Another member of the United Nations interim forces in Lebanon, UNIFIL, is in a serious condition, having undergone surgery following the incident late on Wednesday, the statement said. The reason behind the attack is unclear. Irish Defense Minister Simon Coveney, who is in New York for a United Nations Security Council meeting, said he will meet United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres later on Thursday to discuss the incident. UNIFIL was established in 1978 to oversee the Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon during the Lebanese Civil War and the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. It is made up of over 10,000 personnel from a number of countries around the world, led by Indonesia, India, and Italy. At least 22 people have died and several others have been hospitalized in India after drinking toxic alcohol, authorities said on Thursday. The deaths happened mainly in two villages in the eastern state of Bihar, where the sale and consumption of liquor are prohibited. Such bans are enforced in several Indian states, driving a thriving black market for cheap alcohol made in unregulated black street distilleries that kills hundreds of people every year. Reports say that the latest incident involving men in Saran district began vomiting on Tuesday before their condition deteriorated. 3 died on the way to the hospital. Others died while being treated on Wednesday and Thursday, with local media reports putting the toll at 31. Hospital Chief Sagar Dulal Sinha said 22 post-mortem examinations have been conducted so far. Of the estimated 5 billion liters of alcohol drunk every year in the country, around 40% is illegally produced, according to the International Spirits and Wine Association of India. In July, 42 people died in the western state of Gujarat after drinking bootleg booze. And last year, about 100 people died in the northern state of Punjab in a similar incident. And the Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi has asked United States President Joe Biden to put pressure on Rwanda in order to stop its support to the M23 rebels. The two presidents spoke at a bilateral meeting during the ongoing United States-Africa Summit in Washington. The United States has previously called on Rwanda to stop its support to the M23, while Kigali has continuously denied links with the rebel. In the United States, the president of Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Angola met to discuss the Eastern DR Congo security situation, which Mr. Tshisekedi did not attend. The presidents met to review the implementation of Luanda and Nairobi agreement meetings that have taken resolutions on the conflict, the Rwandan presidency reports. It came as the M23 rebels held their first press conference in Bunagana town in the eastern DR Congo, which they have controlled since June. The United Nations forces in DR Congo said more than 130 people were killed by the rebels in the two areas on the 29th and 30th of November. Ghana's annual consumer inflation has accelerated to a new 21-year high of 50.3% in November, up from 40.4% the previous month, driven by utilities, food and fuel. This is according to data from the Ghana Statistical Service released on Wednesday. On Tuesday, the West African nation secured a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for a $3 billion three-year support package. Ghana had approached the IMF in July to ask for financial help after soaring prices and economic hardships spurred street protests. The West African gold, oil and cocoa producer is battling its worst economic crisis in a generation. The local city currency is down around 40% against the dollar this year. It traded at all-time lows in November before rallying in anticipation of the IMF deal. Government spending cuts and several central bank interest rate hikes have so far failed to tame inflation. The government has started restructuring its domestic debt and is discussing a strategy for external debt restructuring, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said on Tuesday. And we shall be going on a break, and we'll come back to local news, entertainment and sports. Please stay with us.
You're still listening to Global News on Magic 102.9 FM, Aba. Send your views, comments, eyewitness reports, and other developing stories to newsroom@magicfm.ng. That is, newsroom@magicfm.ng. Listen live to www.magicfm.ng and catch up with our news updates at www.magicfm.ng/news.
Welcome back, and you're still on to the Global News on Magic 102.9 FM. Thanks for staying with us. The newly redesigned Naira notes will go into circulation today, with deposit money banks releasing the bills to their customers via over-the-counter payments. This came after 3 weeks after President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled the new bills at a weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Aso Rock Villa. The president unveiled the redesigned notes across the 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1,000 naira denominations. The Governor Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) Godwin Emefiele had in October announced that Apex Bank will release redesigned naira notes by 15th of December 2022. He also disclosed that the old notes will cease to be regarded as legal tender by 31st of January 2023. Emefiele pointed out that the redesigning of the Naira notes will help to curb counterfeit notes and reduce ransom payments to terrorists and kidnappers. The CBN boss said it is worrisome that 85% of the total currency in circulation is being herded by Nigerians. And now entertainment. Australia's internet safety watchdog has accused tech giants Apple and Microsoft of turning a blind eye to the sexual exploitation of children. Australia's E-Safety Commissioner said in a report on Thursday that the tech giants were not doing enough to tackle the problem, as they do not proactively search for child exploitation material on their services, despite the availability of software that scans for known images and videos of abuse. Commissioner Julie Iman Grant said that the very concerning findings came after her office issued legal notices requiring Apple, Meta, WhatsApp, Microsoft, Skype, Snap, and Omegle to provide information about their policies for preventing child exploitation on their services. The report also highlighted disparities in how fast tech companies responded, with the average time ranging from Snap's 4 minutes to Microsoft's 2 days, and policy loopholes that allow Meta services users suspended for sharing child abuse materials to set up new accounts on their platforms. A Microsoft spokesperson said the company recognizes that child sex abuse is a horrific crime, and it has a long-standing commitment to combating the spread of child exploitation material. And now sports. Wednesday evening at Al Bayt Stadium was the extension of a dream for Morocco. Fans across the world, and not just Moroccans, had pressed their snooze buttons to allow the dream to linger a bit longer, stretching it for the extra minutes of that final hooray. Morocco had already exceeded expectations by reaching the World Cup semi-finals at Qatar 2022, beating Belgium, Canada, Spain, Portugal along the way. On Wednesday evening, between them and Argentina at Lusail Stadium stood another giant of world football, two-time winners and reigning champions France, arguably the biggest, sternest and truest test of whether Qatar 2022 was a dream or reality for Morocco. Since beating Belgium, Morocco hoped for a last 16 slot. Expectations grew when they beat Spain. Fantasy gave way to belief after beating Portugal. But on Wednesday at Al Bayt Stadium, maybe due to the introduction of a new football, the occasion adjusts the gulf in skills between the two sets of players, the dream did not materialize in the way Morocco wanted. Morocco will be back for one last hurrah on Saturday in the third place playoff against Croatia, the team against which the Atlas Lions fairy tale journey began at Qatar 2022 last month. For some travelling fans, though, winning or losing on Saturday will not take the gloss away from the dream run. And that was the news. But before we go, a recap of the major stories. President Joe Biden has promoted partnerships with Africa at Leadership Summit. Dozens have been freed. A new Ukraine-Russia prisoner swap. And Peru has declared nationwide state of emergency as crisis deepens. And from the local scene, banks are beginning to reconfigure ATMs as new Naira enters circulation today. We brought you these and more, plus entertainment and sports update. I am Ruth Hams. Thanks for sharing your time with us, and do have a wonderful afternoon. Up next is Old School Drive with Cool DJ Val.
My baby don't reach 6 months. Sure, 6 months don't reach now. Hey, now you be say breast milk alone no go do for your pikin again, no. Time don't reach to dey give am food where they soft, where they mash together. So, on top breast milk, make sure say you give your pikin food wey get at least one for these 5 sets. Egg, fish or meat, fruit plus vegetable, oil, beans, groundnut, soya or millet, rice, potato, maize or yam. You suppose mash these foods together so e go dey soft well for your pikin. From 6 months, your pikin need this kind food to make him body dey kakaraka and make it grow well. This message now from ARIN Project, Federal Ministry of Health.
Reformers Global Prayer Network presents Building Top Notchers. Date Wednesday 4th to Saturday 7th January 2023. Venue Abia Poly Pavilion. Time Morning session 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Evening session 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Ministering Humphrey Erumaka, Don Odunzi, Ben Dike, Reverend P.K. Emaba, Theodore Efyong, Uche Ume, David Onoha, and Innocent Kasarachi. Also ministering OBK Inyechiloro, Praise Imo Oji, and Richie Felix. Don't miss it. Signed, Reverend P.K. Emaba, host.
We, the management and staff of Initona Hotel, wish to inform our esteemed guests and customers that we are currently running a 15% discount on our room rates and drinks. Yes, you heard me. 15% discount, and you can't afford to miss this. Come with your friends, families, and loved ones and experience the atmosphere of joy and love. This is our little way of saying thank you for always patronizing us. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year in advance. Signed, Management.
Transition. With total acceptance to the will of God, we, the entire family of late Pastor Dr. Tuesday Samuel Iwok, JP, of Inengabase Atai, Oruanam, local government area, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, gracefully announces the passing on to glory of our pastor, husband, father, grandfather, brother, in-law, uncle, and friend, late Pastor Dr. Tuesday Samuel Iwok, JP, aged 70 years. Funeral arrangement: body leaves mortuary for lying in state on Friday, 16th December 2022. Time 9 a.m. prompt. Funeral service Friday, 16th December 2022. Time 10 a.m. prompt. Interment 1 p.m. Venue at the deceased compound Inengabase Atai in Oruanam local government area, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. The funeral procession will be conducted by Assemblies of God Nigeria, Uyo District. Signed, children.
We're the station that beats all the competition. And we'll prove it as soon as we hear any competition. 102.9.
It's time to go old school.
102.9.
Back to the old school.
Another Sirius XM Party City Rock Monster.
Can't we just keep this old school?
You know, back in the day.
Let's go back to the old school with Cool DJ Vibe.
in this wonderful world. Everybody hear my device. This world na so. If you no get anything in this world, make it no jealous of people wey get you. If it better for you in this world, make it no love of people wey no get. Na so. Na God to create anybody as he be. And God do not want anybody to suffer. He be give by nature, try to help me as he be. Be small by nature, try to help me as he be. He be handicapped, make it no vex at all. He did somebody see, now he take mystery. Aya, unana gonna. Aya, unana gonna. Aya, in this one I saw. Aya, in this one I saw. Aya, in this one I saw. Aya, unana gonna. lójoojúmọ́. Ọba kan àti kalẹ̀ yìí. Adúró pàìpàì lẹ́yìn aṣòótọ́. Kò jẹ́ ronú ibi rárá. Ìmọ̀síkú gan. Afrojuju lẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ o, ẹ ṣé o.
Olùdásílẹ̀ Afrojuju àti sọ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ayé òde pátá dáradà wọ́n kàn lè fọwọ́ aago sẹ́yìn ni àsìkò àwa youth rèé o kàn yé bí inú wa fọ́ṣọ́ ni yọ ṣàgó. kò sí bọ́n ṣe máa dúdú tàbí kọrin àfọ́.